So, when I first heard about the TV show Andor, I wondered how could this be any good? With the Book of Boba Fett basically shitting on his own character, making him an absolute dumbass,
Like a panther. Yes?
and Obi-Wan Kenobi doing basically the exact same thing, I figured Andor would continue to spew the Disney sludge down the pipe, just like all of the recent Disney productions. Also, why would they make a show based off of a supporting character in a spin-off movie? Albeit I liked Andor in Rogue One, but it was mostly just because I thought his jacket looked cool. However, I was pleasantly surprised when I watched the show. Right off the bat, the production of the show has got to be 10 times that of previous shows. This show had several locations with places that looked lived in, and you could tell that they had put time and effort into constructing a set that was realistic and believable, which was a breath of fresh air comparing it to the plastic-looking Boba Fett sets and the incredibly similar flat sets of Obi-Wan. To be honest, I'm just glad we finally got away from Tatooine. I mean, Jesus. The show centers around Cassian Andor, 5 years before the events of Rogue One. Upon looking for his sister, he ends up getting into trouble, murks 2 guards, and becomes a wanted man. Hot on his tail is Cyril Karn, an ambitious Corpo security officer looking to avenge his fallen comrades. Andor flees home when he is eventually tracked down by the Corpos. The 3rd episode ends with Andor leaving with a mysterious figure who seems to know a lot about his past and asks him to go on a heist, robbing the Empire of a platoon's whole quarterly salary. The plot has several turns and changes in scenery, but overall, I really enjoyed it. The show also has some interesting characters on both sides of the Empire, and it was localized, so the cameos were kept to a minimum, which I think is for the best, because it was really nice to see a show that didn't have anyone affiliated with a fucking Skywalker. But personally, I really liked Cyril. Although he was a fan of the Empire, he was quick to action, ambitious, and had a sense of professionalism and moral duty to provide order. Honestly, the main reason why I liked him is because he and his associate were just competent fucking characters. But I give him credit for how he holds himself in the beginning. Everything he does is him trying to climb the ladder, hold a high standard for his organization, and his sheer drive is honestly the main thing pushing the majority of the plot forward. In fact, ambition itself is probably the main driver of the plot, with rebels going on a high-stakes heist, to senators making under-the-table deals, to the Empire's heavy overreach, cracking down on any sort of resistance, big or small.
So yeah, all in all, Andor is probably one of the best things that Star Wars has come out with in a long time, and that's including the prequels. Now, I'm a fan of the prequels. I mean, I watched them as a kid. I grew up liking them. Whether or not they're good movies is one thing. I enjoy them personally. But Andor is something, there's something here. Something really, really interesting. this is probably going to be the first show I watched twice as far as Star Wars is concerned. Just because I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything and I pick up all the beats and see where the story was trying to go and hopefully get some insight on where it's going to go in the future. So I'd recommend watching it. I've been recommending it to all my friends. It's definitely worth going to go see, especially if you like Star Wars. If you like Star Wars to be taken seriously, that is.
Wait, stop. I'm not done. As much as I want my reviews to be brief, I got a lot I want to say about this show, so I want to go into a bit more detail, have a few more spoilers, so if you will bear with me, I will explain why I like this show as much as I do. You see, I feel like these sorts of reviews need references. I feel like y'all guys need to understand why I think the way I think with these things. You shouldn't just take me at face value and just take me by my word. I should give you some examples. So, first off, we're going to start with Cyril and why he's personally one of my favorite characters. And the best place to start, I think, is in his introduction.
This is quite the report. This happened when?
Here we see Cyril standing adjacent to his superior officer. The officer is slouched, relaxed, and more than likely bored, versus Cyril, who stands painstakingly at the ready. The contrast lets us know that Cyril is focused on having the appearance of a leader to a fault. Then we have the comment stating that this is quite the report, expressing that he went to difficult lengths to make this report outstanding.
Have you modified your uniform?
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping and some light tailoring.
Okay, I'll be honest, I just wanted to include this scene because I think it's hilarious. You can tell he loves his job because of the fact that he's even tailored his own fucking suit to make it fit him perfectly. It's hilarious.
Tough case. Bad timing.
I don't understand.
I want you to conjure a suitable accident.
But they were murdered.
No, they were killed in a fight.
This scene explains that Cyril wants to hold whoever is accountable to justice, and that we need to avenge the deaths of our fallen brothers.
2 men are dead, sir. Employees. That's not worth staying up for, then I'm not worthy of the uniform.
What the officer explains is that today he's making a report over Morlana's crime rates to an Imperial Regional Command review,
And the goal of that speech, should you ever be asked to deliver it, is brevity.
and that this murder case would cause trouble with their more relaxed command. He suggests that if he continues his campaign to find the criminal, it could spell disaster for Pre-Mortar's control over Morlana.
Which at the moment includes you.
A beautiful way to top off the scene, subtly threatening Cyril to essentially back off the case, or he could be out of a job. Now, more than anything, I would love to just continue to dive into the competent, for once, the absolute competent empire that we have. They're fantastic in this show. The Imperial Security Bureau, the ISB, their scenes are like chef's kiss. I love them. I can't get enough of them. Fantastic work on the writers. But I do know these things need to be brief, so I'll just do a quick wrap up for everything we've seen thus far. Andor has more production value than any of these shows, and for good reason. Its writing is actually done fairly well. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the direction that it went. It may seem boring to some audiences, I would say, but it's more than just man shoots blaster, guy in cool costume goes bang, or lightsaber whoosh, it's more deep than that. It has more character, it has more personality. I understand the vibe that Andor was trying to produce, the message that it was trying to get across, the seeds of rebellion that were being placed. And you could almost feel this setup going to something larger, which ultimately would result in Rogue One, which it makes Rogue One better. For once, a Disney Star Wars show made something Star Wars better than what it was before. I'll watch Rogue One now with a new light. It's still not the best movie, but it's not terrible either. It's the only decent thing that Disney's put out so far. So if you like Mandalorian, if you like any of these other Disney shows, Andor's your way to go, without a doubt. Hands down, it's good. If you like serious drama, serious stories, and things being realistic in a sense, in a space opera, quote-unquote, made for kids, Andor's your way to go. Highly recommend. I'd give it a good 7 out of 10. 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I do understand that it's got some slow points. It kind of goes in small arcs. Like the first 3 episodes are an arc, the next 3 episodes are an arc, and then I think it's like a 4-episode arc after that. So it kind of has a weird pacing, but overall, I think it's a good show, and I would definitely recommend watching. So with that, I will finally wrap up this video that I have been procrastinating for months, and I will catch y'all guys later. Bye!